Today we have Hayley Halstead. She is a partner marketing leader at Vertex. We're going to talk about partner marketing. Hayley, thank you very much for your time. And why don't we start with you introducing yourself and letting us know a little bit about how do you get involved in the world of partnerships? What did you do in the past and what are you doing today at Vertex?
Yes. Well, thank you so much for having me, Rick. I believe that I've been working in partner marketing my entire career. So I actually started out at a full service B2B marketing agency called Allytics, and it primarily supported Microsoft and its ISV partners. So Microsoft would hire us to craft their better together stories with their partners, and then we would develop co-marketing assets. So that was really how I got my introduction into the world of partner marketing. And then from there, I joined Smartsheet as their founding channel marketer, where I helped build what's now the global partner program and launch the partner portal and then partner.
Okay.
After Smartsheet, I went to a late stage startup called OwnBackup, and I led global partner marketing there, working with partners like AWS, Microsoft, Salesforce, ServiceNow, and other ISVs and channel partners. And then I left right before Salesforce acquired OwnBackup, and then I joined Vertex, which is where I work today. It's a global indirect tax platform, and today I lead a team of partner marketers who focus on implementation and solution partners, as well as Microsoft, Salesforce, and Shopify. And sitting on the demand generation side of the house, we are really focused on how can we influence pipeline with campaigns that involve partners. That's our primary
Very good.
KPI.
Yeah. You definitely have a very strong background in partner marketing and not just on the function, but with many types of partners, right? Because I've heard some of the
Mm,
big tech companies, hyperscalers. I'm sure you have seen a full range of agencies, resellers, tech partners, solution partners in your career. So very good to hear about that. You mentioned partner marketing at Vertex is within demand generation. Partner marketing can sit in different places in different companies. Sometimes it's under partnerships, sometimes it's under marketing. But regardless of what it is, how do you think partner marketing defines its goals? What do you see as the common goals for a partner marketing organization?
yeah, well, when I think of partner marketing, I like to simplify it by thinking about how we do to partner marketing, through, with, and for partner marketing. I would say the with partner marketing is probably what most people think about when they're considering like what is partner marketing, and that's really when you're going to market with another partner, you have a joint value proposition that you are delivering together. The through partner marketing aspect is when I guess some folks consider it partner-led marketing, when you equip your partners with content where they can market on your behalf. Sometimes you even see this when they request marketing development funds and they execute activities that help generate revenue for both companies. The for partner marketing type is something that I actually hadn't heard explicitly defined until fairly recently, and that's when you are marketing on behalf of one of your partners. But the component of partner marketing I personally think is often neglected is to partner marketing. And that's when you're building messaging and content that you're delivering directly to a partner, whether it's to recruit prospective partners or to engage and activate existing ones. And the goals of partner marketing will vary depending on which function you're sitting in. A lot of times I see that role in demand generation where ultimately you're trying to generate revenue for the company, whether it's through indirect referrals or the pipeline that you can create from the campaigns you run with your partners. Other times when you're product marketing, it's around launching a joint offer with a partner. So it's really going to vary from company to company, but I do think that framework of to, through, for, and with applies across the board.
Yeah, definitely that framework is very common in our world in tech partnerships, SaaS partnerships. But to your point, I think I agree with what you said that to partner marketing, a lot of the times, I don't know if it's neglected or people just forget about it or don't realize that that's also part of the function. So do you have any more insights around how do you approach to partner marketing? Like what are the things perhaps that you're doing today or that you have done in the past?
Yeah, absolutely. So similar to how we approach traditional marketing, where you build out your ideal customer persona, we should be doing the same thing with our partners. And
Mm-hmm.
every audience within a partner organization is going to be different. So an executive is going to need completely different messaging than a sales rep or someone on the product team at your partner organization. So when I'm approaching to partner marketing, I am tailoring the message and content based on who I'm talking to, what motivates them, what kind of information they actually find useful. And that also extends to how we might deliver that content. An executive might want something very, very high level, but it speaks to the metrics of the success of the partnership, while someone in sales wants to understand how are they going to make money. They might want hands-on training or written guide, so that format will vary as well depending on who you're talking to. Really what you're trying to accomplish is meeting your partner where they are. So at Vertex, we're actually working with Forrester Advisory Services, and one of the recommendations that they shared, which I really agree with, is you need to tailor your to partner marketing based on not just partner type, but also the persona and then their maturity or their development level. So, for example, the content that you create for onboarding a new partner or someone who's a new employee at an existing partner company, that's going to look really different from the content you use to engage with your more established partners. So,
Yeah.
the other things that you want to consider is like, what are the skills that you need your partner to develop? What are the processes they need to be aware of at each stage? And in general, like, what do you want your partners to know about you or the problem that you solve? So ultimately, I think really strong two partner marketing comes down to really understanding your partners, where they are in their journey, and then
Yeah.
delivering it with the right message in the right way to help them succeed. And then I've also had some experience running campaigns targeting signed partners like Salesforce, reinforcing the value that my company brings to them and why they should care. That's one of the biggest things with marketing, getting out that what's in it for me message. And that's so important when we're talking to our partners.
Yeah. Kind of like going back to the basics of marketing, right? These two partner function or initiatives, you really have to understand your audience. And to your point, it's not just about understanding the partner type, which is typically associated with a company type. You really need to understand the partner persona, right? And where they are in their journey. So definitely good advice there in terms of two partner marketing. Thank you for that, Hayley. Let's switch a little bit to something, I think you mentioned it in your experience, this better together message, right? Or sometimes it's
Yeah.
called the joint value proposition, which is a key element, right, on driving marketing with partners. So how do you develop one? Like, where do you start? How do you develop and evolve a joint value proposition with a partner?
Well, I'm so glad you used the word evolve because I think that's really important when you're building out your messaging. When you establish it, it's not just going to be static. You're going to want to evolve
Yeah.
it based on the needs that your customers have. And really, if it's feasible, I like talking to joint customers if they're open to it, hearing what are their challenges, what are they actually working on, what do they care about most. And then if you're not able to get that feedback directly from joint customers, I'll connect with the account team to try to get those insights because they're the ones talking with the customers. They usually have an idea around what's really resonating when they're speaking with those customers. And from there, I build out what I call a joint messaging and positioning framework document. So this is a Word document where I document, who are the target personas that both my company and our partner is going after? What are their job titles? What are the key challenges that our joint solution solves for? And then that gives a foundation for building out the messaging that'll speak directly to those personas and to those challenges. Because ultimately, I think a strong, better together story addresses how both your solution and your partner solution complement each other and ultimately are driving more value for that joint customer.
Yeah.
And earlier we had just said that messaging should be iterative. So as you hear additional feedback from customers and account team, that messaging should be evolving. A lot of organizations say that they are customer first. And this is a really great example of how you can be customer first by listening to the feedback that you're getting from customers and iterating on that.
Yeah. It sounds like you have really operationalized the process of developing this joint value proposition? I think I heard you say that you have a joint messaging and positioning document. Is that how you
Yeah.
call it?
Yeah, like at Allytics, when Microsoft hired us, sometimes we
Mm-hmm.
would have to build out 10 different joint better together stories with an ISV and Microsoft. So we did have to
Yeah,
templatize and operationalize it
yeah,
and iterate on it so it, created a message that would really resonate.
yeah. Yeah, no, that's very good because I'm sure that if you have that template ready, then you can scale, right? You can repeat the process, rinse and repeat, rather than trying to reinvent the wheel. And then you can do things more effective and more efficient. So
Right,
that's really good to
absolutely.
hear. So let's say that you have this document, you have the joint messaging, the proposition together, you have it in writing. How do you promote it? Like, how do you drive a campaign with that? What do you do next with that document?
Yeah, I mean that's a good question too. So ideally there is a marketing counterpart on the partner side that I can work with.
Mm-hmm.
And
Yeah.
I always like to, start with the basics and make sure that we are aligned on expectations. So with a partner, I like to document what are we trying to accomplish? What are our joint goals and how are we going to measure success of this? And that early stage or the initial kickoff that I'll have with a partner, we'll also talk through who are we targeting? So are we going to run a campaign where we're targeting a specific persona, or are we going to be running a more broad industry play? And then the other piece is just figuring out um, what type of customer journey that we're targeting. So the campaign could be about driving awareness at the top of the funnel, or we might want to engage existing accounts further down. So I think it's really important from the start when you are going to be developing a campaign to align on the goals, the expectations. Also, things like is there going to be a financial contribution that you're expecting from the partner? How will each side promote the campaign? And
Mm-hmm.
how are we going to stay aligned and communicate updates? So definitely having that clarity up front will reduce some of the friction later on. And then once that foundation is established, that's when you'll work with your partner to brainstorm the different tactics to achieve those goals. And I'll say this, like a lot of people will jump straight into the tactic itself, like, hey, let's do a joint
True.
webinar, or let's do an event together. And they'll skip a lot of that pre-work and even
Yeah.
that planning for follow-up, which are just as important. I mean, sometimes when I'm talking to my teams, I'll say, I think the planning and then the follow-up are even more important than the thing itself, because you're not
Mm-hmm.
setting yourself up for success if you don't have that proper planning in place. So, for example, let's say you're going to be hosting a joint event with one of your partners. You need to be really thoughtful about the audience. You want to make sure you're inviting the right accounts. So you might want to use a tool like Crossbeam or do an account mapping
Mm-hmm.
exercise to have a target set of accounts. And then if it's a more intimate event, you want to get sales buy-in early so that they can help drive registrations with personalized outreach. And then another component of joint campaigns is tracking. So you might want to use a UTM link or a unique landing page so each partner can see exactly which leads they drove to the campaign. And then when it comes to follow up, I think this can make or break a campaign. It needs to be clear who's following up with the leads. So, I've seen some examples where one partner might want to own all the follow up and then bring the other partner in one or two calls into the process. Other times, partners might just follow up with the leads that they drove, but it's not a one
Mm-hmm.
size fits all. It just depends on what the
Yeah.
needs are. But I just think it's so important that a lot of this gets agreed upon up front, so everything feels really cohesive from the customer's perspective.
So what are some of those, perhaps the most creative ways in partner marketing when it comes to events?
Yeah, events are a lot of fun. I love them and I also hate them, but they were a really great way to get face time with your customers or prospects or even partners if you're doing a partner event. And what I find is trying to have the most unique, memorable experience is what resonates most. So, a generic dinner might not be as compelling as, hey, you're going to
Mm-hmm.
be meeting with a Food Network chef and you're going to be doing a cooking class with them. One of the events at my last company that we did, I found was super unique was a suit fitting event. So we bought out a suit store in New York City with a
Wow.
partner. and we invited our high-end prospects to come in. Men and women could get fitted for a custom suit. And while they were there, they got to network with the partner reps. And it was a really great opportunity to get, our joint customers in a room and have them walk away with something that they could actually use and think of us whenever they wear it. And then I heard from
That's
another
really
partner marketer, they did something where they did a custom golf fitting event where they measured out. I guess I don't know much about golf, but they would measure you out in a way where you could get a really good golf club that fit you well, and then they use the delivery of that golf club as another touch point to
yeah.
meet with that high value prospect. And then I always say, if budget allows, I do encourage folks to allow plus ones to these events because usually these are outside of working hours and it's time away from your family or your friends. So if you can bring someone along, it makes people a little bit more comfortable and more willing to attend.
Yeah, that's a very unique example. I never heard of that one. That suit, right? Fitting session or event. That sounds really good. And I like what you said, that every time they wear that suit later on, they're going to be thinking about how did they get it. So you're always going to be top of mind. So very,
Yeah,
very
it
interesting
was a
example.
pretty unique event. I like that one more than the more traditional restaurant experiences.
Yeah,
And I think the more creative you get, the more likely someone is to want to attend.
yeah, for sure. Very good. Hayley, this has been great. Thank you very much for sharing your knowledge and your experience around partner marketing. But what else can you recommend for others in the position and this type of role? Like, what kind of resources can you recommend to other partner marketers?
Yeah, that's great you're asking because a few years ago, I felt like there weren't that many partner marketing resources out there. But
Hmm.
I'm part of a free partner marketing community group. If you just go to LinkedIn and type partner marketing community, it'll show up. And then in the description, you'll see a link to the Slack community. You'll see a lot of partner marketing jobs. People will share questions and comments in the general channel. And then every month, we have a meetup just like this, where we get FaceTime with other partner marketers and we talk through our challenges, brainstorm solutions, and it's a really good networking opportunity.
Hmm.
There's also partnership leaders, which is a great group of people across the board working in partnerships. They have a lot of great events, webinars, and resources for its members. I've also seen Channel Marketing Association, as well
Okay.
as some vendor-owned communities that have been popping up, like Informa Tech Target. They have a partner marketing visionaries LinkedIn group, and they'll host
Yeah.
webinars and share content in there.
Yeah. Yeah. There's definitely a big difference today compared to just 5 years ago. I think some of them they didn't exist. So definitely going in the right trend, the right direction.
Yeah, I
Promoting
think
and
so.
exposing more this function in the organization. Hayley, thank you very much for your time. This was great. It's great to see you again, and thank you. Thank you for all your insights. I really appreciate it.
Yeah, thanks, Rick, for having me. Appreciate it.
All right. See you soon. Bye.